Hello, and welcome to the Irving Archives and Museum online. Today we're bringing you a quick tutorial on how to make these bracelets. Beadwork has long been a popular method used to decorate clothing and accessories due to the wide range of materials, shapes, and sizes of beads. These images are taken from the exhibit Away from Home, American Indian Boarding School Stories. Beadwork as a Native American art form evolved over time to include many different types of beads, and glass beads proved particularly popular and were traded with Europeans through exchange networks. Today, most native beadwork is created for tribal use, but beadworkers also create conceptual work for the art world. And now we'll demonstrate how to make a simple beaded bracelet. Follow along at home to get a sense of this enduring craft. All right, so here's everything that you need. You can pause the video while you gather your supplies. First, you'll want to take a length of embroidery floss about 25 inches long. That'll give you plenty of space to work. Next, you'll need your collapsible eye needle. It's a special kind of beading needle with a collapsible eye to allow the beads to go over the eye of the needle and onto your thread. So thread your needle and begin with a crimping bead, about 8 inches from the end of the thread. And here you'll see this is kind of, once you use the pliers on it, it just crimps down to keep those beads from sliding off. And we're ready to begin our beaded pattern. So I'm just adding the beads here to a paper plate, which worked fine for my purposes. I believe they sell organizational trays, though, if that's your preference. And now I'm just using an alternating black and white pattern and adding in a few of the blue and red beads as well. It's really up to you if you want it to be random, if you want to do a pattern, um, if you want it to be balanced, that's all at your discretion. A good tip is to just keep checking it as you go along in case you need to make any changes. Now you'll want the beaded portion to be roughly 4.5 inches long. And then now we're just adding a final crimp bead at the end, again to keep the beads from sliding off. Now take both ends of the bracelet and thread them through the eye of the needle, like so. We're going to add our slider bead, which is the mechanism that lets the bracelet expand to go over your hand. So I do recommend testing it with your own hand to make sure that you don't cut your tails too short. So it's just, I'm demonstrating here. Okay, now we'll take one of the ends and add a crimp bead. This is really to finish it off. So we'll add that on and then clamp it there. And then you're going to want to tie off that excess into a knot. So you should have a little bit more tail than I've left myself here, but we'll take that piece and tie it into a knot. And then of course you'll do this for both ends. Once you have your knots, you can trim off any excess, and then we'll seal it with some clear nail polish. Once that's dry, you're all done. I recommend making several at a time and experimenting. There is some trial and error involved, but once you have a method that works for you, it's very rewarding. That's all for today. Thanks for tuning in.